Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call here on CNBC-TV18. As promised, let's get straight to our top stocks that we're tracking for you. Our team is standing by. And let's go first to Sudarshan, who's here to track for us the Thump, the Royal Enfield. How are Eicher Motors' numbers, Sudarshan?
So first, I'm going with red for Eicher Motors just because earnings have missed estimates. But I won't be surprised if stock makes recovery intraday. But there is a big if. It all depends on the market mood. Now, talking about the earnings have missed estimates on lower than expected Royal Enfield margin. But company has now shifted the focus to growth than the margin. Now, revenue has increased 4%. It has come at 4,263 crore. EBITDA was flat at 1,087 crore. We were working with the figure of 1,185 crore. Margin has come at 25.5% versus 26.4%, and our poll was around 27%. Brokerages have largely mixed views on the stock. Jefferies retains buy call and target is rupees 5,500 per share. It says Royal Enfield volumes are showing signs of pickup. Nomura has upgraded the stock to neutral from reduce, and target is now at rupees 4,391 per share. And it says it is encouraged to see Royal Enfield shift in stance to drive volume growth going forward. MS has maintained underweight and target is with 3,655 per share. So earnings have missed estimates, but stock might see recovery as company has shifted the focus to growth.
Indeed. Thanks a lot for that, Sudarshan. Well, let's hop across to Vivek. Vivek, tell us, how are Torrent Power's numbers?
Well, good morning. Well, the overarching theme as far as the power sector is concerned in the quarter gone by has been the slightly subdued demand that you've seen on the back of unseasonally high monsoon. Now, when you're talking about Torrent Power numbers, slightly subdued set this time around. Revenues higher by 3%, EBITDA down 1.2%, margins at 16.8%, so margins also compressing, and profitability down 8.6%. Looking at the internals, what worked for the company this time around? The distribution business actually kicked in, and that aided profitability. But what impacted PAT as well as EBITDA? Number one, lower contribution as far as thermal generation was concerned. As far as the merchant power market was concerned, much lower sales this time around. This is simply due to lower electricity demand, and also lower demand as far as the renewable part of the business was concerned. The PLF there was quite low on a year-on-year basis. Segmental EBITDA too, when you're talking about it, the thermal was down almost 26%. There was a maintenance shutdown this time around as well. Distribution went up by almost 16% as far as the EBITDA was concerned, and renewable down 23% on a year-on-year basis on the back of much lower wind as well as solar PLF. So going with the red as far as Torrent Power is concerned.
Got that, Vivek. Thanks for that. Let's hop across to Rima. Rima, tell us how are Vodafone Idea's numbers?
So, Vodafone Idea has clocked in growth this quarter. So, revenues have gone up by 4% on a sequential basis. Margins have expanded to 41.6%, but 40 versus 40% the prior quarter. And this growth was aided by the tariff hikes undertaken by the industry. But growth rate is lagging peers. So the company's top-line growth of 4% falls short of Bharti's 10% kind of growth. Also, the subscriber loss increased to about 5 million on a sequential basis, and ARPU increased, to 156 rupees. But again, lower than what peers have reported, and the debt on the company continues to remain quite high at 2 lakh crore plus.
Okay, all right, Rima, thanks for that. Well, let's hop across to Vamakshi. Vamakshi, tell us, how are Thermax's numbers?
Well, going with the green for Thermax, and that is because, the revenue for the company came in largely in line with the street expectations at 2,611 crores. The gross margin witnessed an expansion of 46 basis points. The EBITDA saw an uptick of almost 36% for the company. In fact, EBITDA margin as well as net profit have come in much higher than what the street was expecting. The EBITDA margin especially is seeing a very sharp uptick from 8.89% to 10.64%, and the net profit is up nearly 25% for the company. Now, keep in mind that the revenue and PBT include incentive income under the package incentive scheme of the government of Maharashtra, which is worth somewhere around 66 crores. Margins for all of the segments have expanded, barring the chemical segment. The margin expansion is the most for the green solutions business, while for the chemical segment, they've seen a downtick of almost 231 basis points. Keep in mind that this is a high margin business for the company, so that's slightly negative for the company. But nevertheless, the ordering activity was quite robust. In fact, order inflows came in at 3,353 crores. This is much higher than what the street was expecting. Even the order book has come in much higher than what the street was anticipating at 11,593 crores. And this is mainly because the company received 2 large international orders during the second quarter in the industrial infra segment. So overall, it looks like a good set for Thermax.
All right, thanks for that, Vamakshi. Well, I'm looking at Nalco, and this stock should do well in today's trading session. And in the near term, it's got a couple of positives that are working for it. The numbers come up for you on the screen, and it's a beat on all accounts. What caused this beat? Alumina sales were 50,000 tons, more than what Phillip Capital was estimating. So that's the reason why we saw a big bump up on the top line. Now, we know that aluminium prices as well as alumina prices, both of them are holding strong. But the reason there's an operational beat as well is the cost of power has come down. They've been sourcing a higher amount of their power from captive sources. And that's clearly evident because the cost of power is down by close to around 20% when you have a growth on the top line. Even other expenditure as well as employee costs as a percentage of sales, well, that's come in lower, which is good news. And the segmental breakup tells you the picture. The chemicals business, which is effectively the alumina business, look at the profitability out there. Blockbuster, nearly around 600 crores coming in on that front. The sweetener comes in that they've given a 4 rupee dividend as well. And alumina prices may not be sustainable, but for the next 6 months or so, the alumina market is likely to be tight, which means that alumina prices will hold more than $600 per ton, which makes second half of the year look good as well. So going with a bright green on Nalco. But Sonal, tell us about PI Industries as well as Deepak Nitrite. How are they?
PI Industries surprisingly has gone ahead and cut their revenue growth guidance. This hasn't happened in a long time. In fact, now they say they're reevaluating their guidance. Revenue growth guidance for FY25 at high single digit versus the 15% mark that they've spoken of earlier. And that is because of global headwinds. So overall, their revenue growth was quite muted, just 4% this time around. And they've been doing more than 30% growth in the last couple of quarters. EBITDAs are 14%, margins have improved, but the profits were up just 6%. The export business continues to do well. That was up around 10%, but domestic revenues declined by 5% on a YOY basis. For Deepak Nitrite as well, it was a weak operational performance, and this was led down by the advanced intermediate segment. Revenues were up 14%, but EBITDA declined. Margins were lower by around 230 basis points, leading to a profit decline of 5%. And that was, as I said, advanced intermediates, where the EBIT halved on a YOY basis, and even the phenolics business did well. And that is something that supported the business, the numbers this time around, but overall weak operationally.
Got it. Thanks for that, Sonal. Well, let's hop across to Rima. She's here to tell us about Happiest Minds. Rima.
So Happiest Minds has clocked in a steady quarter, a revenue growth of 12.3% quarter on quarter. The revenues have been boosted by the acquisitions of PureSoft and Aureus. We don't know what the organic revenue growth is, but on a year-on-year basis, the top line growth is about 28%, slightly short of the company's own guidance of 30 to 35%. In the first half of the year, they've clocked in about a 23% kind of growth.
Got it, Rima. Vinny, what about Cipla? There's some news flow that came in late last evening. There were some observations that came in for one of their units. Tell us more.
Absolutely. So because of that, we are expecting a bit of a red. Now, this is for their Virgo Nagar Bangalore facility, which was inspected between November 7th to November 13th. They've received a Form 483 from the US FDA. 8 observations are coming in on this one. Obviously, we'll wait out for the details in terms of what is the nature of these observations. They should come out within a week or 10 days. So that's going to be critical to watch out for in terms of Cipla. But surely we're expecting a bit of a red because 8 observations is a high number there. And the company said that they will be closely, obviously, working with the US FDA and remain committed to address all the observations that are there within the stipulated time. So keep an eye out on Cipla today. A bit of a sluggishness is what we're expecting today in the stock.
Okay, all right. Vinny, thanks a lot for that. Let's hop across back to Sudarshan. Sudarshan, it's time for a drink. No. It's Varun Beverages. Tell us, they're looking to raise some money. Give us further details.
So company has announced QIP and sources indicate that total QIP size is at rupees 7,500 crore with base size at rupees 5,500 and green shoe option is at rupees 2,000 crore. I'm going with green for the stock because indicative price at rupees 565 per share, which is a discount of just 1% to the closing price that we saw yesterday.
Okay, all right, Sudarshan, appreciate you joining in and giving us those details on Varun Beverages. Let's do a quick recap then of all the stocks we just listed out for you. 3 will be reacting to positive news flow. So we'll have Thermax, Nalco and Varun Beverages. While you have 7 stocks that will be reacting to negative news flow, they include Eicher, Torrent Power, Vodafone Idea, PI Industries, Deepak Nitrite, Happiest Minds, as well as Cipla. That's about the equity markets, but let's get in Manisha, who's tracking the commodity space. Morning, Manisha. Well, commodity space is interesting, but Bitcoin, $90,000. Who would have thought? Tell us more.
Well, absolutely, Nigel. There's only two things that seem to be doing well right now. One is the dollar index at a one-year high, and another is the Bitcoin at an all-time high. But this is exactly the reason that you have seen major other commodities actually see a decline. So I'll start with precious metals, where you have gold headed for a fourth weekly decline. It fell 1% overnight. It's down by more than 5% on a weekly basis as well. Silver is trading at a 2-month low, down 6% on the week. And the base metal prices have had it coming as well in this week itself. So you have copper prices, which fell 1.5% overnight. Copper is trading at a 2-month lows right now. We've seen zinc and aluminum also decline quite sharply. Aluminum is down by 4% in this week itself. Well, the strength in US dollar, expectations that the US Fed will not cut interest rates as strongly as markets believed it to be. And then China delivering 10 trillion yuan debt package to ease local government financing, but not doing a direct economic stimulus clearly seems to be impacting the markets right now. It's another week which has seen a decline. Markets will watch out for more information coming in from US. And more importantly, today is the US Fed Powell testimony, and that statement perhaps could give us further direction.
Okay, all right, Manisha. Thanks a lot for that. Stronger dollar, it's weighing on commodity prices and Bitcoin in a world of its own, now at around $90,000 odd. Slip into a short break. When you come back, we'll connect with Prakash Diva and Deepak Mehta. Both of them will be joining in to help us out with some fundamental analysis. Stay with us.